be useful to have a single visualization which displays both the industry and the company's GAAP and ITEP effective tax rates by tax year. This will allow for better comparisons between the average lines. In Power BI, you can only filter visualizations at the page or entire workbook level, not the individual data point level. Thus, to create a visualization that displays both the company and the industry effective tax rates on the same graph, we need to create two new fields. These two new fields will only populate the GAAP or ITEP effective tax rates for our firm. Fortunately, Power BI contains Power Query so that we can create these two new fields without having to go to another data analytics program. Let's begin by duplicating our industry visualization. And let's rename this visualization with Industry C and Amoresco, or whatever your firm name is, Average GAAP ITEP effective tax rates by tax year. Now that we have our new visualization, click Transform Data and select Transform Data from the list to open the Power Query editor. In Power Query, we're going to work with the Add Column menu. We're going to add a conditional column. Name the new column with your firm GAAP effective tax rate. In the If Condition column name, click the drop-down menu and select the option for Firm ID. Leave the operator as equals, and in the value, type in True. In the Output field, click the down arrow next to ABC123 and choose the option to select a column. Then click the down arrow and select the GAAP effective tax rate column. In plain language, this configuration tells Power BI to add a new column labeled Amoresco GAAP effective tax rate and to only populate that column with the GAAP effective tax rate when our firm ID is true. Once you click OK, you will see a preview of the data in your Power Query editor. We want to change the data type of this column from ABC123 to a decimal number type. We're going to repeat this process for adding the conditional column for our firm's ITEP effective tax rate. In the conditional column name box, choose Firm ID equals True. Select the down arrow to change that to a Select a Column, and this time choose the ITEP effective tax rate. In plain language, this configuration tells Power BI to populate the ITEP effective tax rate column for our firm only. When you click OK, we again will see a preview of our data, and we want to make sure that we change the data type to decimal number. Now that we've added our two conditional columns, we need to remember that in order to have the changes apply, we need to choose the option to close and apply. Once we've done so, we will find the two new columns available for use in our visualization. Go ahead and click on the visualization and add Amoresco Inc.'s GAAP and ITEP effective tax rates to the visualization. We'll want to make sure that we format the line colors so that our lines for the Amoresco Inc. are similar in color to the lines for the industry, but different enough that they could be distinguished. You can then minimize all of the fields and use this visualization to answer the questions in both the trend analysis and the difference analysis section. While we could have used the first two visualizations, an important point for any visual analysis is to be mindful of the scale. The x-axes of the first two visualizations are identical. The tax years will be the same across all visualizations. However, the y-axes for the first two visualizations are likely different. In other words, the scale of the first two visualizations are likely different. Scale differences create issues related to comparisons between visualizations. We could have considered altering the default scale on both of the first two visualizations to a constant amount before drawing comparisons in the difference analysis, but instead we forced the scales to be the same by creating a visualization which contained both the industry and your company on the same graph. Once you have answered questions, move on to the next video where you will learn how to apply Nossenbaum-Knaflich's tips of limiting comparison data and being intentional with color choices to create effective visualizations.